there. It could have been on my end. Usually it's YouTube acting funny bunny, but I think it may have been something on my end because I lost connection to all the platforms there. So give me a 10-4, Roger, that if you can read me there in the chat box. It seems like we have successfully reconnected. Jojo Wave just donated one diamond over there, or no, one lemon, excuse me, over there on what is it? On DLive. And then we got CryptoZilla says no chat on YouTube. Are you sure? Because I see some chats from Satoshi and Lady Plants. Hit a refresh and let me know if it's working over there, CryptoZilla. Jojo Wave says 10-4, copy that. So yeah, if you guys can give me a confirmation, I see DLive working, but I'm not sure if YouTube's working. So, while you guys troubleshoot that, let me know. Jojo Wave says, yeah, 10-4, copy that on DLive. Yeah, head over to DLive, guys. Head over to DLive. I just dropped the link there. I'll do it again, just in case, the chat. Okay, working now? Okay, great, CryptoZilla. I just shared the link to DLive. So, if people come in on YouTube and they know where to find the alternative. Let's go ahead and run down the markets here and see what's going on. Again, welcome to everybody in the chat box. I hope everybody had an excellent Easter and you had time to reflect and, time to rest too, I think this is much needed rest for a lot of people. I'm trying to find, like I said, the silver lining in all this. And, I was really thinking about it and meditating on it. And I feel like, we may pull out of this even stronger, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. What happens, when you survive, a sickness or, when something happens to you, usually you build back stronger, So if we've been on quarantine for I don't know how many days worldwide, and people had like a rest. Who knows? People may have, that built up energy ready to pump it. And one thing that makes me look at things positively is that, yes, we can all agree that the bank system and the economic system is funny bunny, right? Obviously, we've talked about that I don't know how many times. But one thing that we need to realize is that we're in a climate where there's no direct competition really to the US dollar. Okay. So it's kind of like it's either got to work or not, because if the USD goes down, what is going to be the alternative out here? Don't tell me Bitcoin, guys, please. Don't tell me that right now. Okay. What would be able to step right in? I don't know if it's metals. Maybe someone could do another thing with everything would crash and burn, in other words. So it's kind of like a do or die type of situation. If the whole system dies right now, I mean, I don't think it will. I'm going to be honest with you, because there's no direct competition. I've said this so many times. Okay, look, when Venezuela and these African countries or some of these other countries start hyperinflating their currency and mismanaging the economics, they're in a climate where there's competition. There's currency competition, so they can go to somewhere else. But right now, the USD is stronger. Okay, I was reading an article about how all the international banks or all the banks abroad, they got to settle in USD. Okay, so. And a lot of them, they don't actually have the cash on hand. So while, people are getting concerned about this hyperinflation, on the other end, you got a lot of debt that needs to be paid off as well. And these banks that are outside of the U.S., they may not have access to the cash because they've been doing fractional lending. You see what I'm saying? So there you go. We'll continue to talk about it. Slobo says, happy Easter to y'all. Shout out to Slobos. And Satoshi says, what don't kill you make you stronger. That's what I'm saying, right? If it hasn't killed us, I mean, maybe we come out stronger worldwide from this. Now, I see that there's a lot of change in the smaller currencies are really going to get hammered, because right now the USD is getting stronger and all these other currencies, they're kind of like falling behind. It's this move. It's just showing that the USD is getting stronger, although they're printing more and everything. I came across an article explaining that. Let me see if I can find it on Zero Hedge so you guys can read it on your own, because it was a lengthy one. I was reading it last night, and it made the point that, these banks outside the U.S., everything needs to be settled. So, if you're a Mexican investor that is going to build a hotel in, I don't know, in Dubai, chances are it's going to be in USD. You see what I'm saying? Everything is denominated. Really, at the end of the day, people are taking loans, but it's all being valued in USD. And then some of these other banks that are not in the U.S., they'll take USD deposit and then they'll lend based on that, but fractional lending. So like they got 100,000 USD. Now they'll lend 10% of that, $1 million. Now you got $1 million in debt circulating out there, but there is no cash to cover it. You see what I'm saying? So in a way, physical USD may be more rare than people expect. My Lord Jesus Christ, and he wouldn't put up more on the table that I can handle. He says, be still and listen, for I am God, says Satoshi. Yeah, he's getting biblical this morning on us, but I agree. Sometimes you got to remind them. I agree, Nakamoto. Oscar says, what's up? 1966 Hemis out here day and night. Just hit me up with a message before I went online when asking me when I was going to go live. So I know you guys are waiting for the champ. Everyone who owns USD is going to get killed because of the dollar shortage. How are you going to get killed if the dollar is being shorted? It's shortage. If anything, it's going to make it more strong. The USD has gotten stronger. Okay. Contrary to popular belief, that's the bottom line. Why? Because people when the risk is on, they go to right now. It seems like, I'd said this before, even in 2008. Okay, let's talk about 2008 when the whole thing went down. Gold maintained its thing pretty well. And, gold has always been advertised as the alternative, right? But even in 2008, if you would have just pulled out all the cash and just sat on USD and just bought back in, you would have been better than moving it into gold. You see what I'm saying? So we live in a managed world. There's a lot of funny money, and the free market economics that have been taught in school are not at play out here. There's a shortage of dollars in the market, driving the price up relative to other. Yeah, that's what I say. You said something like you didn't really explain it right, but you said everyone who owns USD is going to get killed. I look at it like, no, there's a shortage of USD in the market, so the demand is higher. So it's actually made it more valuable in the short term, because there's a shortage of dollars and people want the dollars because they need them. The world right now, the developers in these international countries, they're settling in USD, and there's a shortage of USD in the market, driving up the value of USD. CryptoZilla out there. I see you with the D Live memes. He's got the Globe hoax, and he's got the crying meme as well. Shout out to CryptoZilla, always sharing good ones. Let's give the rundown out here. So, again, listen, I may not be right. I may not be wrong. I'm just shooting out ideas that I've came across. Yes, there is a shortage of dollars in the market, and that shortage of dollars in the short term appears to me to be driving up the price of USD. So, how is there a shortage of USD when they can print an infinite amount? Right. I'm saying outside of the United States. See, those banks are not directly getting the money. So it's like, let me re-explain it. So actually, if I can find this article is killer, because I can read a couple of, I was reading this yesterday. So like, let's see if I can find this. I know someone texted it to me, so I can find it here on my phone real quick for you guys. It's called Down the Rabbit Hole Euro Dollar. It was on Zero Hedge. Let me see if I can find this for you guys, because this article is worth reading. Boom. This is the article I'm referring to. It's a lengthy one, okay? So I'm not going to read it all. And let me just share my display real quick. This is the article that I'm referring to. So let's. So they are describing this as the euro dollar. Don't get it confused. They're not talking about the euro. Okay. Let's go ahead and just so that you could, because this I wouldn't have called it the euro dollar. I'll call it the petrodollar, or just the U.S. dollar. But let me give you their definition of what the euro dollar is. The euro dollar system is what they consider is a critical but often misunderstood driver of global financial markets. Its importance cannot be stated. While most market participants are aware of its presence to some degree, not many grasp the extent to which it impacts the market. Okay, let's go ahead. So a euro dollar is an unsecured USD deposit held outside of the U.S. They are not under the U.S. legal jurisdiction, nor are they subject to the U.S. rules and regulation. To avoid any potential confusion, the term euro dollar came into being long before the euro currency, and the euro has nothing to do with Europe. In this context, it is used in the same vein as euro bonds, which are also not euro currency denominated bonds, but rather debt issued in a different currency to the company of that issuing. For example, a samurai bond, that is to say a bond issue in Japanese yen by a non-Japanese issuer, is also a type of euro bond. As with euro bonds, euro currencies can reflect many different underlying real currency. In fact, one could talk about euro yen for the Japanese yen, or even the euro. So it gets, let me see if I can find another point out here. It also shows a vast power in that this is an equally large structural global demand for USD. Every import, bond, loan, credit guarantee, or derivative needs to be settled in USD. Indeed, fractional reserve banking means that the initial euro dollar can be manipulated up. Okay. For example, a euro dollar of 100 million can be used at the base for a larger euro dollar loan and leverage increase further. Yet non-US entities are not able to conjure up USD on demand when needed because they don't have a central bank behind them that can produce USD by fiat, which only the Federal Reserve can. So that kind of answers Jojo Wave's question there. And this is this power to create USD that everyone else transacts and trade in is an essential point to grasp on the euro dollar, which is ironically also why it was created in the first place. So it keeps going on that, basically like this system, this matrix is more, the US dollar has a stranglehold on the global economy more than one may expect or believe. This is a good article. I wish I could just read it all. It keeps going and keeps going. Read this. But it gives you a better understanding how much of a demand there is for USD. Every country's trying to spend their way out of this. Derek says because everyone makes, let's say, pesos but owes USD, and when USD appreciate, their debts get harder to service. Says Derek. 1966 says, I believe President Trump is going to go back to the gold standard. The debt can't be paid back. Bankruptcy restructuring coming, says 1966. I know a lot of the Q supporters, they say that. They think it's going to go back to a gold standard. And I don't know. I mean, it sounds cute and romantic, and I would probably like that and everything, but I don't know. I think that having the printing press be, it gives them way too much control. Like, why would they want to limit their control? You understand? They've become stronger now than before. Why would they go back to the gold standard? You see what I'm saying? Like right now, they could keep printing, and people there's a demand for the USD. So while it may be, the right thing to do, it's probably not the best thing for them, right? Kaboom to the champ and all the maniacs, his main event. Yeah, Derek McLean, he says, I highly doubt that Trump wants lower interest rates from the Fed. Exactly. Easier to access capital, easier to access money. Because if you have a limited circulating supply like Bitcoin or gold in a time of a spook like this, nobody's going to spend. Everything would lock up. You see what I'm saying? So in a way, them pumping more money is kind of keeps the flow going. While it may or may not be, the right thing to do, you see how on the short term, it keeps the system, the waves and the currency moving. So, and I think Derek brought this up too. And so to a certain extent, inflation promotes spending. You see what I'm saying? Right. You can't manipulate the markets if you don't control the money supply. Exactly. So why would they go to a gold standard and limit themselves, guys. They have more power than they did last month. So, and this actually makes the U.S. and the Fed stronger because all those other banks, they need to settle in USD. So, in the end of the day, I think this ends up putting the U.S. ahead, or at least the Fed ahead. I said this a couple weeks ago. I think the Fed right now has become like one of the, if not the strongest entity in the world, whether you like it or not. Okay? Good day to David Couch. So read that article down the wrap. I think this is a good one to read. They call it the euro dollar, but I don't think that's the best label, the best, because now when they define the euro dollar as just an unsecured USD deposit held outside of the U.S. If the government just said all Americans should use Bitcoin, would that benefit all of us? That you're thinking an absolute, like who's all? There's people that don't have Bitcoin. So they, if the government all of a sudden says, oh, everybody has to use Bitcoin, the people holding Bitcoin are going to benefit more than those that are not, because the price will run up or not. I don't know. But guys, the government is not going to tell anybody to use Bitcoin. Did you not read Donnie's tweet? He's not for Bitcoin or the cryptos, guys. And in fact, why would they go with Bitcoin or the crypto when China owns about a third or more of the mining power? So no, they're not going to go for Bitcoin. Where's main event Kaboom to all the champs? And then currency's not money though. They can print as much currency as they want, but like Greenspan said, can't guarantee purchasing power. Yeah, that's true to a certain extent, but read like how deep and how much in debt the world is to this system as well. It's because of the derivatives and being able to do fractional reserve. So people need to settle in the USD. So how are you going to change the system? I don't know. Are they going to just start settling in another currency? What is why would a country do that? To try to break away from the system? But then they're left alone. Look at what happened to Gaddafi trying to do the African dollar based on gold. They sniped them out the box immediately. Okay, so what country is going to go and break off on their own? The only one that could really do it is a superpower like China or Russia. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. What we're seeing is all these smaller currencies are just going to consolidate into the USD. So that one world currency is coming sooner than later. We're going to see more consolidations. Right now, I don't know how many currencies there is, but I'll guarantee, or I'm pretty sure that there's going to be less currencies. And ultimately, they're going to keep consolidating. I think Bitcoin is in an ABC Elliott correction wave. If this is true, then Bitcoin should go down to 2,000, absolute bottom, before starting a long-term moon trend. I'm starting to think true. I don't think that there's any of those technicals apply in this market. Those technicals, throw them out the water, Elliott and all that stuff. That doesn't take into consideration the black swan event that just happened and how deeply correlated Bitcoin is to the stock market. So really right now what's going to happen is whatever the stock market's going to do, Bitcoin's going to follow in the wake. No, guys, it's not the